Sesame Street was an American educational series that was based for kids and adults who felt like kids. It merged both live-action people and puppet animation, and first aired back in 1969, which was roughly 56 years ago. It's been running for 55 seasons with 4,731 episodes in total, and most of the original cast members have passed away while other characters were brought in as replacements. Today, I want us to remember every single one of them, from the first season up to date, and what the surviving actors have been doing after all this time since they left the show. There was this man called Luis Rodriguez who made his debut in 1971. He represented the Mexican-American people in Sesame Street, and he took great pride in his Chicano heritage by sharing his culture with his neighbors. He was also seen dating a girl called Maria and finally marrying her in the 19th season, and they both had a daughter called Gabby. Luis operated a fix-it shop where he repaired all sorts of items, and was also known for his skills at playing the guitar in almost all of his appearances. His character was brought to life by a man called Emilio Ernest Delgado, who was an American actor that played the role of Luis in Sesame Street for 45 years. He was blessed with 2 kids and married 3 times before passing away on March 10, 2022 from complications of multiple myeloma. He was 81 years old. Bob Johnson was another character in Sesame Street. He was a music teacher who appeared since the first season and was also a disciplinary enforcer and role model to the kids and Muppets in the show. He had a sister named Jane who lived in the mountains and also a brother who was an archaeologist. And as a music teacher, he mostly played the piano while singing, and sometimes played the flute too in some episodes. His role completely disappeared in the 39th season, and was a character played by the late Bob McGrath. He was both an actor and singer, and also a children's author and poet. He appeared in Sesame Street for 47 years before leaving in 2016, and was blessed with 5 kids in his lifetime. He passed away on December 4, 2022 at the grand age of 90 years from a stroke. Another man was Gordon Robinson, who was one of the original residents of Sesame Street. He made his debut since the first episode, and was a history teacher who came to live in the town after serving in the military. After a couple of seasons teaching history, he became a science teacher and also married a woman called Susan, and they both adopted a boy called Miles as their son. Gordon's role in the show was to act as a role model for the African-American children who lacked a positive father figure during the time, played by Roscoe Orman, who is an American actor and writer. He has been active in the show for its entire time, and is now a father of 4 children and a husband to 1 wife. The famous Kermit the Frog appeared both in Sesame Street and the Muppets consecutively. He was an anthropomorphic green frog who made funny faces while communicating with others, and he mostly hanged around with kids while teaching them lessons and virtues. The kids in the show loved him, and he appeared all throughout the show. He is still one of the most iconic characters today, and his creation and puppeteering was done by a legend known as Jim Henson, who was an American puppeteer and animator in the filmmaking business. He was the creator of the Muppets, and was the one who came up with all the Muppet characters you'll see in this show. In 1991, he was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and was also named a Disney Legend in 2011. This icon sadly passed away on the May 16th of 1990 at the young age of 53 years. His cause of demise was as a result of bacterial pneumonia that attacked him a few months before his passing. Maria Figueroa appeared in Sesame Street in 1971 as a Puerto Rican teenager who worked as a librarian and later alongside Luis Rodriguez in his fix-it shop. She was first seen as the girlfriend of a man called David for a few seasons, then later became a love interest to Luis, who she married in 1988. Her family came from Puerto Rico to attend her wedding with Luis, and they both gave birth to a daughter named Gabby. She played a huge role in the show for 45 seasons before retiring completely in 2015. Her character was from a lady called Sonia Manzano, who is an American actress and writer. She played the role of Maria for 45 years and received a Lifetime Achievement Emmy Award in 2016 as a result. She now has 1 child, and has also created an animated TV show called Elmo's Way, which is specifically for children. Alan was the Japanese-American owner of Hooper's store on Sesame Street. He appeared in the most recent seasons of the show and was seen working with Gabby and Miles as his employees. He was also close friends with Big Bird, who is a character that we shall look at later. He was always praised for giving out snacks to people around Sesame Street and was considered as one of the purest of hearts in the street. Played by a man called Alan Muraoka, who is an American actor that has been in the show since 1998. He was one of the people who directed High School Musical and is now a private man with little to no social media. Susan was a housewife who initially worked as a nurse before she was married. Her presence in the show was specifically aimed at the young girl audience and was supposed to teach both hard work in school and loyalty in managing a loving family. She sometimes worked as a mechanic and was seen fixing broken cars and changing bus tires in the street. Her parents were Dorothy and Mr. Lee, who were not necessarily seen but were mentioned in one of the episodes. She later got married to Gordon Robinson, who we discussed earlier, and they adopted a son and named him Miles. This queen was voiced by Loretta Long, who is an American actress that has been in Sesame Street for 47 years. She also works as a voice actress for some animation shows with African American characters. Gina Jefferson first appeared in the 2053rd episode. She appeared when she got lost on her way and landed in Sesame Street, but was not a recurring character in the show. She made 5 other episodes where she was seen singing and mingling with the Muppets, and also worked at the Hooper store with Alan as her boss. And her final appearances occurred when she opened her own daycare center in the late episodes of season 29. She was played by Allison Bartlett, who is an award-winning writer and a prolific actress in children's shows. She now directs movies and has also produced some episodes of Sesame Street. David appeared as from season 2 and was an African-American male resident in the street. He was a very jovial person who loved singing and working at Hooper's store. In the first few seasons, David had a romantic relationship with Maria, but in the later seasons, she fell in love with Luis and they later married. After the owner of Hooper's store passed away, David inherited the job and ran the store with the help of other characters in the series. He was one of the original characters in Sesame Street and was a man played by the late Northern Callaway. He was an American actor and singer who played the role of David from 1971 to 1989, and after his last few appearances in the show, his contract was terminated. He fell into a deep depression and was permanently placed in a mental institution where he was treated for bipolar disorder. A few months later, he unfortunately passed away after a violent altercation with a staff physician at a young age of 41 years. Chris Robinson was the nephew of Gordon, and his first appearance was in season 38. He moved to Sesame Street to seek a job as a buyer and seller of textbooks for the school. After this job, he went and started working as Alan's new assistant at Hooper's store. He hanged around with the Muppets where he sang songs and did adventurous things with them. Played by Chris Knowings, who is an American actor that also appeared in the Nickelodeon series called Taina, playing the role of Lamar Carlos. He also has a twin sister called Christy Knowings, who is also an actress. Mr. Hooper was the elderly storekeeper on Sesame Street since the show's debut. He was the original owner of Hooper's store and was known to live in a 3-bedroom apartment. He was a nice man to everyone he came across and was often seen developing bizarre inventions throughout his appearances. He was also a very close friend to Big Bird, and they spent so many hours together in the store. This old man was played by Will Lee, who was an American actor that appeared in the show since its first debut. He appeared until his passing in 1982 at the age of 74 years. He passed from a sudden heart attack. Elmo was a red Muppet monster who lived in Sesame Street. He was 3.5 years old and always spoke while referring himself in the third person. He lived with his mother called May and his father Louie, and was one of the first few characters in the show to appear as a Muppet. And as basically a kid, Elmo was always seen doing kid stuff and also had an orange monster-like toy that he named David. He was puppeteered and voiced by Kevin Clash, who was an American professional puppeteer and director who worked as Elmo from 1985 to 2012. Clash was married for 17 years before telling his wife that he was gay, and they divorced in 2003 after having a daughter together. Olivia Robinson was a resident in Sesame Street who worked as a photographer. She had an older brother called Gordon who worked in Detroit for a newspaper. She appeared in the show looking for a job and worked in the street's basement as her darkroom while focusing on her photography. She mingled with young girls in the show and really enjoyed skipping rope during her off hours. She was played by Elena Reed Hall, who was an American actress and singer. She appeared in the show since 1974 until 2009 when she passed away at the age of 63 years from breast cancer. Linda was a librarian who worked at the library in Sesame Street. She appeared in Season 2 and featured in non-consecutive episodes until Season 33. She was a deaf girl who used sign language and was a girl meant for the deaf audience in the show. She stopped appearing after the 4,106th episode and was a lady played by Linda Bove. She is a deaf American actress who was the one and only deaf person in Sesame Street. She appeared in the show from 1971 to 2002 and is a certified deaf interpreter. Leela was a young Indian-American woman who ran the local laundromat on Sesame Street. She appeared from 2008 to 2015 and had an unseen brother who had a daughter that was her niece. She loved her niece so much and was seen singing to her in a certain episode. She also hanged around the Muppet characters and was a girl played by Nitya Vijayasagar, who is an American actress. Other characters who featured in the show include